Hello Internet, Johnny DL here. It's sunset on a fantastic summer's evening. I wonder whether you can see it in the background. Probably not. It's not brilliant for camera. So yeah, yesterday was a bit awful, so I thought I would do something a little more interesting today. If the light picks up in here, which it will as soon as I spin around. There we go. Oh, there we go. Something a little bit more interesting today. I've got a story from when I was about 8, and it's something I've denied in the past, and it's not really necessary to deny, I suppose. It was really embarrassing at the time, but I'm sort of 14 years later, 15 years later, and it's just a funny story, so feel free to have a giggle at my embarrassment. So I was in English class, and I was age 8 or 9, so that would have been year 4, I believe. In year 4, I had Mrs. B for English. Mrs. B was absolutely brilliant. Didn't like her at all. I mean, didn't like English, and she only taught me for English and science. And it was really hard, I suppose. She was an absolutely brilliant teacher, don't get me wrong. I mean, she taught me a lot about English, but I still didn't like her. But anyway, this story isn't about her. This is about me. There was one English lesson where we did English comprehension. In Britain, that basically means reading a passage and then answering questions about it, which is pretty simple stuff. You read a couple of paragraphs, and then there are 10 or 12 questions, and you can either pull the words that you need directly out of the passage, or you sort of ramble until you get the correct answer, which is relatively simple stuff. I mean, they're all like 1 or 2 mark questions, and at age 8 or 9, it's nothing particularly difficult. So yeah, that was the lesson, and I was working quite hard. We had the 15-minute starter, and I was talking. No, I was getting on with my work, and I stuck my hand in the air, as you do when you need something from the teacher. Now, if I was working and I stuck my hand in the air, obviously I didn't actually need any help with the work. So I think that a lot of my friends will see where this story is going. So still really embarrassing. So yeah, I stuck my hand in the air and I got through 3 or 4 questions before it was sort of urgent that I needed some attention, and I shouted across the classroom, "Mrs. B, can I have some help, please?" And she said, "I'll be right with you." And it was like, no, I don't need help in that way. You're going to be too late. And I started waving my hand and bouncing, and yeah, you can really see where this is going, can't you? So yeah, I wet myself in English at age 8 or 9. It was not the easiest time in the world. As you can imagine, I was kind of really embarrassed. I mean, that was pretty devastating for something like that to happen to a kid age 8 or 9. I mean, it was my fault. I mean, English was immediately after break, and at break I had gone to the cafeteria, refectory, depending on what you want to call it. We called it the dinner hall, and the dinner hall had snacks, and I had a crumpet and I think the best part of 3 cartons of apple juice before I run out of money. And I really liked apple juice. So as you can imagine, I didn't need to go to the loo break. But 3 cartons of apple juice, that's the best part of a pint of apple juice, and a pint of fluid going in has to come out. So I didn't just have an accent, I had quite a bad accent. Oh, this is really madness. Um, I can't believe I'm actually telling you this story. I want to tell you this story. I mean, it's one of the things that is on my list of stories to tell. Um, but it's still really embarrassing putting it out on the internet. Can you see how red I've gone? um, so yeah, there's that. Mrs. B was, well, I put my hand down and started crying, and she didn't notice immediately. The girl sat next to me. I think it was. I can't use her real name, obviously, so I'm going to call her Lacey. Um, I think Lacey was. She was definitely the first person to notice. She called the teacher across, and it was pretty instant knowledge across the classroom. Um, I'm not actually sure what happened between this point and lunch, but I sort of reappeared at lunch after having, well, obviously I would have been cleaned up, and I changed out of my school uniform into sports kit. It was lucky that I had my sports kit with me because I don't do sports at all, never have. Um, the only thing I would reliably bring my sports kit for was swimming, and then eventually that stopped as well. Um, so yeah, it was lucky I had my sports kit and I could get changed, and we had it was lunchtime, and it seemed to be common knowledge throughout the school at that point. I mean, it had been what an hour after the incident, and everybody had had a chance to talk, and gossip spreads faster than light speed, it seems. Um, so yeah, everybody knew, and I was teased mercilessly, and you can expect that. The thing that I didn't expect um, to come from this whole sort of event was for the next few weeks. Um, a number of my teachers, Miss C, Mrs. B, Miss H, Miss K, they all they all asked me the potty training questions, which just, come on, I was 8. Did I really need to be dragged through that age 8 again? And it wasn't like they were being discreet about it. They were asking in front of the class, which sort of dragged the bullying along quite a bit. I mean, I can't say that I wasn't bullied before that, and I can't say that it didn't have any effect whatsoever. But I I know that I had a pretty bad time from somewhere in the middle of year 3 where I made a monumental mess up of something else. Um, and my God, we're at 9 minutes. So yeah, there was that monumental mess up, and then this happened, and it sort of went from me having a reasonable group of friends to talk to having maybe 2 or 3 people in the school pretty much overnight, and that was pretty bad. The two, I think I earned a couple of my friends back, but I never really earned all of them back, which is kind of disappointing. And it wasn't. It was obviously let go when I left primary school and I went to secondary school, but at least by the teachers and the majority of the students. Um, and I think it was Lacey again. I think she was the one who asked, and it was the middle of year 9, so I would have been, what, 13, 14 at this point? So it's about 5 years later. Um, I was being asked about it, and I out and out lied and denied it and went, don't know what you're talking about, because um, I was 13 or 14, and wetting yourself in the middle of class was like really, really not something you ever wanted to admit to at that point in your life. I mean, now I'm 23, it's just an anecdote and a joke, and it's not the first time I've told it. It's the first time I've told it to the internet, but um, it's a story that I've used quite frequently for kids that I've been caring for, one way or another. Um, and yeah, it's oh, I've got voices in the background. I think we can do something different. Yeah, I shall sign off and I shall complete this another time. Um, yeah, if you want to comment, ask questions down below. You've also got Ask FM for questions. Follow me here and on Twitter. And if there's anything you want me to cover, just ask and I will. I think this video pretty much proves it. Um, so yeah, have fun. Like if you wish. Johnny DL out.